Welcome back to another episode of That Sound Podcast. And if you love music, you are in the right place. Chris Sulek is back for another chat, friend of the podcast. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So you're just back from a trip to Florida. You caught Metallica at night one, right, in Tampa?
Yep, just night one.
So before we get into that, there's been a few shows in between. I'm hearing a lot of good things. I'm still hearing the band are absolutely killing it. What have you heard over on your end?
Yeah, it seems like they've still been going full bore. It sounds like they've mixed in a little whiskey in the jar along the way.
Yeah.
A no-leaf clover, if I have that right. And
Yes. Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
that's an epic one that I always like to see. It takes me back to high school and the S&M days.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems there's been just there's been a little bit of movement on the set list since I last saw them in Nashville.
And still no Unforgiven 2. I think that rumor's kind of put to bed, is it?
Yeah, it seems like that. I don't know. It's a pipe dream at this point.
You never know, though. They might maybe come out with something. Is it Denver is the last shows, right? Is that the one they're wrapping up on?
Yep, Denver will be the end of the North American tour.
You're going to that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, yeah, that'll be the quote unquote hometown shows. It's
Yeah.
one of my friends joked. He was like, "You call 3.5 hours close?" And I was like, "Yes, that's close for me."
Yeah, especially when you're. How long of a flight was it to Tampa?
To Tampa, it was 2 hours to Dallas and another 2 hours from Dallas. So yeah, four with a actually a really quick just a quick layover. Actually, I went to go get, this is funny. I went to go get Whataburger. I had my heart set on Whataburger, being a Texas kid. Went up. I didn't know if I'd have enough time to get to order Whataburger. And there was a guy, they'd made his order wrong and he was giving away a burger. And I walked up and he was like, "It's got jalapenos." And I was like, "Even better. Thank you." Grabbed it and made it to my flight and enjoyed Whataburger. I was happy.
Yeah, I'm not actually familiar with Whataburger. Is that like a chain in Texas, is it?
It's a chain that, yeah, it originated in Texas and then it grew along the South. They finally opened a couple places. They were purchased by a company out of Chicago a few years ago.
Right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, they sold their soul," but I still enjoy it. And but if you ask me if it's got a rivalry with In and Out, if you know In and Out,
Okay.
based out of California.
Right.
And so people will be like, "Do you like In and Out? Do you like Whataburger?" And I'm like, "Neither. I like Brahms."
Yeah.
That's based out of the Midwest.
I was just on the topic of food. I love food. I was watching a show. I think it was based in Texas. It was like these smoke shop barbecue, like homegrown barbecue joints in like Austin, Texas and stuff like that, where they're like smoking this meat for like 14 hours or something like that. I need to get to one of them. I want to
Oh
get
yeah.
some like old in the middle of nowhere, good ass brisket smoked. That like makes my mouth water when I watch them shows.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and yeah, growing up in Texas, I absolutely love beef brisket to death.
Yeah. There's nothing like that over here in Ireland. Nothing, I don't think. I think I seen one place up in Dublin that was like a Brazilian kind of barbecue place, but
Mhm.
that show, I can't just think of the name of it, but I was like, oh, I need to get over there to Austin and them places to get to these
Yeah,
proper,
yeah.
mama's old recipes, that kind of stuff. But so yeah, I'm hearing good things too. I've heard that the set list, like you touched on, Lone Leaf Clover. I'm hearing some good stories from some of our friends on the road. Shep has been keeping me filled in. And actually, since we last talked, the European tour was announced, of course, and I got myself the I Disappear pass for Europe.
Awesome.
Yeah, very excited for that. I think you're planning on coming over for a couple of shows.
I am. Yeah, I've got 7 shows lined up.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's increased since we last messaged, is it?
I think yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking at, yeah, flying out for one week in May, hitting the show in Poland, 2 shows in Frankfurt, coming back home. I wish I could do what I did last year. No chance.
Right.
And then I'll fly back out in June, 2 shows in Budapest, and then I'll end up in your neck of the woods in Dublin.
Nice, nice. Are you going to Athens?
No, I would really love to. It's 2 days before my birthday, and
Right.
it'd be sick to celebrate in Greece.
Yeah.
But with that being the next show, I think would be 10 days away in Poland, and
Mm.
that would just have to, I'd have to overextend my stay.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hit Athens, Budapest, Frankfurt, Dublin,
Nice.
and London. Night two of London because night one is my son's birthday, so I can't
Okay.
go. And then my birthday then is I think that like I'm turning 40 then like the next week, so I'm just gonna kind of make it
Oh
up
yeah.
in London. So yeah,
There you go. That's what I did with Nashville. Nashville was the week before my birthday, and then Columbus was my birthday. But I was like, we're just gonna have to celebrate my birthday in Nashville.
yeah. I like we chatted about Nashville too. I've heard so many good reports about it. It's such a fun town. It's just so cool.
For
So.
sure.
So what was Tampa like when you got down there?
Let's see. I got there. I was surprised, and funny enough, the night before I checked in on my local baseball team, the Texas Rangers, and they were playing the Tampa Bay Rays. Their stadium had been demolished in a hurricane this past hurricane season. So they've been playing their home baseball games at a local. It's actually where the Yankees play their spring training
Oh
games,
yeah.
and that's across the street from Raymond James Stadium, which is where Metallica was. So my hotel was 10-15 minute walk, half a mile to both of those stadiums. I didn't even put two and two together until I walked into the lobby of the hotel. I went to check in, and there's a bunch of people with Texas Rangers jerseys on. I was like, wait a minute, they're here? They go, yeah, they're just right down the street. And so I was meeting up with my buddy Danny from Costa Rica, Daniel Lopez, and I told him, I was like, hey, get your butt over here. I've got your ticket. And he was like, I just got here. We're getting to the hotel. I'll grab an Uber. So I immediately just found two tickets. Got dressed and went over to the baseball stadium. Got in, met a local there. It was a bobblehead night. He was there specifically for bobbleheads. I just gave him my bobblehead, and we talked, had a good time. Danny made it in. He got to watch some baseball. A really good game with a really terrible ending for my team, but I was just happy I was able to partake.
Right.
And then hit up my Norwegian friends afterwards, and went over, met with them, partied with them, and paid for that the next morning.
Yeah, I did catch your Instagram. It looked like it was a fun night. Fun
Yeah.
night.
Yep.
Um, so another thing I seen today was that the Load box set is being kind of shipped out today.
E-
I seen that I was messaging Clint Wells earlier. He got his hands on his, and I think around now he's actually doing the unboxing live.
Yeah. I saw he was doing an unboxing. I saw that AJ got his. I checked in, and being in a remote place in the mountains out west, I did check in this morning, and I was already excited. I saw that mine's supposed to be delivered tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, as soon as I got home from work and I started looking, I was like, everybody's got their shiny new toy.
I know, yeah. So I'm interested to see the feedback. I seen Clint did post an image, and his is just kind of open. It looks so cool. It looks
Yeah.
so cool, like pristine. But it was funny. He was kind of like, he's like, I have to do a better job than Kirk did. Like Kirk looked
Yeah, yeah.
like probably. What did he say on one of his podcasts? He was like, they probably all draw straws or something to do that. None of them would have wanted to do it at all.
You've been chosen. You must unbox.
Yes, yes, you could tell by his demeanor, he just did not want to be there. But yeah, what is your take on the Load album overall? I don't know if we touched on that.
I mean, it's an album. It's an album that I've always loved because that was about the time. Um, it was right because I got into Metallica right around the time that Reload came out. So that's what was fresh. That's one of the CDs that my buddy was playing for me, and that was my first image of this is Metallica
Right. Okay. So that definitely stays with you.
for sure. Yep, yeah, and it's an easy listen front to back for me.
It definitely is. I've been listening a lot to Load. You know what I actually listened to today was I was up north of Ireland today and I was driving a lot and I listened to Hardwired from start to finish today.
Hmm.
And I haven't listened to it in a long time because I seen on the set list that we got some songs, and I didn't realize how much I liked it. I didn't think I liked it as much as I do now.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of which, did you hear Cyanide on Hardwired?
yeah,
What- Well, that was the joke from the weekend regarding the set
Oh,
list.
James said that from
Yes,
Dead
yes.
Magnetic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was kind of when he said that, I'm like, what? But they
I,
play
I
they
I
play
had to I had
Moth,
to come
right?
home and reconfigure all my playlists, right? All my Apple Music. I was like, this is wrong. Cyanide goes on hardwired now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when you said that, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I knew they played something from Hardwire, but it was Moth, right?
Yeah. No, it was yeah. It was but it was
And
that was
James
just
said,
jumping ahead to the set list. Yeah, that James made the announcement. This next one's off of Hardwired. And then we're anticipating. We're like, okay, what are we gonna get?
and he plays.
Because it wasn't quite the moth slot, and then they go into cyanide, and oh, okay, here we are.
Yeah, I guess the best of us kind of slip up now and again.
hmm
But
And that's fun. Yeah,
yeah, Hardwired. Yeah, Confusion. I always like Confusion, but my God, it's so good,
yeah.
so good. Um, what was the other one? I don't have the set list in front of me or the track listing. You know the one that they kind of done off Cthulhu, the kind of part two of Cthulhu. What is it called? Oh Jesus. Where are we? Hardwired. Um, was it Here Comes Revenge? Is that the one that kind of quotes some Cthulhu in it? Or was it no Dream No More? I think it was.
Dream No More. Yeah, it is. That's the one. Yeah, and I was just thinking because that's probably my favorite off the entire album. That's the one that I turned it up to 11,
Yeah,
and I missed it. Oh God, I missed it in Grand Forks, and I think that's the last time they played it.
could be.
Um,
Yeah. Spit Out the Bone
and
too. I love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And getting that live has always been that's a neck breaker right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we done a video recently on. I might as well ask you when we're on the topic. We done a small video on Saint Anger,
Hmm.
and me and a couple of different guys who have definitely, we're all kind of Metallica fans as such, but definitely the other two guys would have, a lot of Pink Floyd and maybe some indie and alternative. But like one guy was just not a fan of Saint Anger at all, and the other guy was like,
Mhm.
I grew up with it and all this. And I was kind of on the fence, and I kind of was like, look, it they're my guys. I'm not going to shit on them, but it's definitely not their best work in my eyes or ears.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
but like as I said in the episode, like is it 11 studio albums? Is it 11 that Metallica
10,
have?
11 now. Yeah.
So
Yeah. If we're, yeah, all the originals, I know they like to count.
yeah,
They like to count. At some point, they decided, hey, we're going to throw these in there too.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas it was always their original count. Yes.
But like out of 11 to have one little wobble for me, I'm like that's pretty damn good. Um,
hmm
what is your take on Saint Anger?
Saint Anger, I love it.
Oh,
I
you
love
love
it.
it, right?
Yeah, I can put it on a drive, listen to it start to finish, sing the whole thing. And then when we get those songs live, man,
Yeah, it's a
getting
bit.
like frantic and Saint Anger when we were in Brazil,
Mm,
and then them moving on to Dirty Window.
mm.
It's yeah, it's those songs are great live.
It's a different animal life. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely is. It's so much better life, I think anyway. But yeah, so yeah, no, I was just a pleasant surprise today because I would have always ranked, would say my bottom two albums would have been Hardwired and Saint Anger, I think. But I think Saint Anger's gone down and Hardwired's gone up, I think.
Hardwired's moved up. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the list is always evolving
Oh,
though.
it
It's
always
yeah,
will.
yeah,
It
yeah,
always weekly. Definitely with me it is anyway.
yeah.
So yeah, you caught the baseball game then, a couple of beers. So then did you hit up pop-up shops or not? No, that's not your thing.
No, no, yep. If I would have had more time, if it was going to be a full weekend, then I would have been able to set aside time to make some time to get over to the pop-up shop.
Yeah,
But it was my time there was very limited, and I was just like, there's a plethora of people to see, so I wanted to make sure that I was around to see people and hang out with people.
cool. And if I'm right in saying, is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's huge, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was big, open, and it was great. After All Within My Hands, the Buccaneers came to LA and they played the Chargers. My friends from Germany, Karsten and Nick, well, we had talked back in Europe and then further in Mexico City, but they were like, "Hey, we got tickets to the NFL game. I was like, I'll join you. So I was able to get a ticket in their section, and we were ultimately able to sit together.
Oh, nice.
And me, I'm a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. He's the quarterback for
Yeah,
the Buccaneers.
I know
So
him.
I was wearing his college jersey to the game, and I was like, watch this guy. And thankfully he went off that day and had a really good game.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers won, but I was actually happy being in that stadium and thinking of my boy Baker.
Did Baker start off somewhere else?
Originally, he started, yes, NFL wise.
Kansas or someone? No,
He
no.
was drafted by the Browns.
The
He
Browns.
took them to their first playoff appearance
That's right.
in a long time. Yeah. And then he kind of grew stale there, but it was one of those things where it was a different head coach, different offensive coordinator every year. And then, yeah, that's for another podcast.
I love the American football too.
Yeah.
He done a year under Brady, right? Was Brady still there? Did he sit with Brady for a year?
What
Maybe
did I know
not.
of? Where did he go? Because there was,
Yeah, maybe.
man, I think of him popping up in Tampa Bay and obviously leaving the Browns. But yeah, yeah, okay. So you're talking about when he showed up in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Did he do a year under him? I don't think so. I think he came right after him.
maybe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Who's your team again?
49ers,
49ers.
which is yeah, so that yeah, the next show on tap is Santa Clara.
Hmm.
And so after having gone to all these other NFL stadiums of teams I loathe, like the Cowboys and the Seahawks, it's nice to finally see Metallica in what I consider, you know, my home stadium. I've been there for plenty of 49er games.
Cool.
And yeah, the plan is going to be to wear 49er jerseys to each show.
Nice, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I was talking to Anne and Russell too. Just they're from Cali too, right? Are they Southern California? I think they are.
Yeah.
That was a great chat too. That'll be coming out soon as well. But so yeah, so you got in. Did you have anything special? Did you have Frantic or GAs or
No, my normal, yeah, I had my normal I disappear. And this was just I was considering it just a bonus show. When I originally planned everything, I said, I'm going to go to these four cities. I'm not going to make it to Tampa. I had friends from Germany. I had a friend from Brazil that had reached out to me early on. And I was like, no, I'm not going to Tampa. And then as you know, later on in chats, I was like, oh, the last thing I told them is I'm not going to Tampa. I need to tell them I'm going. And then that's when I reached out to my buddy Danny as well because I saw that he was in the States. I was like, "Hey, by the way, I'll be there." So it was nice that I was like, "Oh yeah, I do have these friends that I haven't seen yet on this year's tour that I got to connect with."
cool?
So yeah, I had my standard ID pass. Um, that morning, yeah, I was still feeling the effects of the night before. My buddy Neville had flown in from Santa Monica, and he was supposed to be in around 6 a.m. He was supposed to take a red eye. But yeah, he had a delay. I think he got deplaned. They were like, we're not going to be able to make it. So I think he had to get another flight.
Oh,
I woke up at like 11 and I was like, he's not here. And then I saw a text. He was like, just landed. I'll be there. So he got there shortly after that and just went straight to sleep. So my first thought was, man, I'd planned on hanging out with him,
hmm,
doing stuff with him. And so I woke up, we had some coffee. He just had a little work thing to take care of. And I was kind of getting giddy as in like, you know, I got to get there around 2:30 or 3 o'clock to at least go in with the line. And then I kind of let that pass as like, no, this is the bonus show. Like I'm just here to see the people. I'm not necessarily here to wait all day and make sure I get my spot. So
hmm.
I kind of let myself relax to you know to that effect, and then we casually strolled over. I'd say probably 4 or 5 o'clock. I had seen you know people posting how freaking hot it was,
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I'm glad we're avoiding that.
yeah. It's
But yeah,
probably
we strolled in late and casual.
Yeah, it was probably a good show. Probably worked out for the best, like we were chatting off air, like how hard it was and how that can get you in the bottle with the heat and the water situation and that. So even at that time, Chris, rocking in at 4 or what time did the gates actually open at for GAs?
I would think four. I think because I think it was like frantic. Because of the last, they say that the time for I disappear, the check-in for early entry, they say closes at 3:30. I feel
Okay.
like around 3:45 is when. I disappear is usually going in, and then about 15 minutes later is when they open the floodgates for GA.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I think we were there probably around 5 would be my guess.
Okay. So it was packed when you got in there.
Yeah, when we got in there, it was the stadium itself was yes, but the floor wasn't so much because there were a lot of people there in the bowels of the stadium trying to stay out of the sun and out of the heat. Just people sitting everywhere in the stage. It was funny right when I started walking down the hallway, and I just see people everywhere, and I was like, oh, that like these people have been here for a while, and they're really trying to avoid the heat.
Jesus. How hot was it?
Think it was 90 and humid.
Yeah.
It might have been a little hotter, but I think when I checked, it was 90 and humid, and that humidity really makes it. I don't know. It's got that oven effect, and
Yeah.
you can't stop sweating.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. It's not nice. Like it's not. There's no fun.
and going on the floor, it was funny seeing where people were positioned because you had the shadows from the towers, and everybody was lined up in those shadows, and it was funny. They were forming the tower just there on the floor.
Yeah, I seen some photographs of friends of ours that like anywhere they could get was like hiding under shade, like you just said.
Yeah,
Or even make makeshift little tables to hide under and stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I guess it probably worked out all the best for you. You got to chill out with your friends, have a couple of beers, have a lie in, take it easy and just kind of rock in. So at that time, was some of the support acts on when you got in?
Nope, not when I got not yeah, not when I walked in, not quite yet. So I was
Oh,
able to go
cool.
around, say hello to some people, talk to some crew members. And then yeah, it wasn't too long after that yeah, Ice Nine came out. And then I think I worked my way even further back from the stage. I've been there so many times for an Ice Nine performance, and
Yeah.
I've just never really gotten into them.
Hmm.
It was like they're cutting into my socialization over here, but I was doing fine.
Yeah, yeah. Um, who else was on then
And
after?
then we got Limp Bizkit that night.
Ah, okay,
Yeah, we
okay.
got Limp Bizkit. So I got a little closer for that because they're still exciting for
I
sure.
know. I love watching the videos that they post. Like, I just love how we chatted before that they just don't take themselves too seriously. They're out there having
Yeah.
fun, and the crowd is really bouncing off them. I think it's like a really, really good fit for the show. Really.
Yeah.
But okay, so the set list then, what did you think? Anything stand out for you?
Oh yeah. Let's see. It was great. It felt really heavy at the beginning, especially
Yeah.
when they went into Leper.
Yeah,
So as soon as they rolled into that, I was pretty excited with Leper.
yeah. Creeping Harvester and then straight into Leper.
Yeah, yeah, Harvey to Leper. I mean, that's heavy and then really heavy.
That's all at your
Uh,
spot too, right? Drum kits one. I know you weren't there at this one, but that's
yeah, yeah. If had I been in Snake Pit, that would have been right down my throat. But no, it was great, and especially being back by that's where I was positioned. I had friends that were by the soundboard. We were back towards the soundboard. Being in that open air stadium, the sound was excellent that night.
yeah. I was going to
Um,
touch on that. Was it hugely different, obviously, from being where you normally might try and get along the rail there at drum kit one, than stepping back? Was it an
yeah.
improvement or?
For sure. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's because it's gonna be, when you're right by the drum kit, you're essentially you're hearing Lars hit the drum, and then that's kind of overtaking everything. You're
Hmm.
kind of hearing the echoes of everything else. And then even so, when they move around and I move around in the snake pit, it's not the best sound, but you're so excited and
Oh yeah,
you feel like you're more of a part of the show.
yes, 100%.
But yeah, from the rail in Nashville, from the Snake Pit in Nashville, I would say, yeah, this sound was even better, and that's probably based exactly where I'm standing. Yep.
Cool, cool. And then it rolls into King Nothing. We touched on the
Mhm.
Load album, like it's fantastic. It's been quite frequent in the set, right? It's nearly locked in there.
It has been, yes, yeah. It's not, yeah, it's never a surprise for me.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get your two slots of 72 seasons, 72
Mhm.
seasons, and If Darkness Had a Sun. Would you like to see a change up there now coming soon?
Yeah, I think yeah, that's sort of the anticipation going into this tour season, where a lot of us want to hear Chasing Light and or Room of Mirrors.
Yeah, yeah.
And it'd be nice if something fresh got pulled out. The one that so yeah, the Doodle that night,
Mm-hmm.
Sleepwalk My Life Away, right?
Yeah.
It was that's the one that has eluded me. In 23, they started out in Europe, and that was in one of their 72 slots.
Right.
When they came over to the USA, they took two out. They took Screaming Suicide out as well as that one, put two more in, and that's what we got. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they started the next year in Europe, they brought those two over to Europe, and I was like, okay, when we get back to the US, I'll get those other two songs. I got Screaming Suicide, but Inamorata, forced out Sleepwalk My Life Away. It's not to me, it's not my favorite track on the album, but
Yeah.
if it's been played, I'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your take on Inamorata? Kind of seems to maybe have lost its spot there for the time being.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's sort of a half and half. If they're like, you know what, we're just going to play Inamorata the first half of the tour, but it's not even that. I think they've only played it twice, Toronto and Nashville. Yeah, they didn't get it the second night in Columbus,
No.
and then obviously not here. So we're seeing more whiskey, and
Yeah.
obviously for somebody that's going to a ton of shows, that's okay.
Hmm.
Although I wouldn't mind hearing Inamorata every time. Yeah, it felt bad for like my friends from Brazil that came out. They haven't seen Metallica since 22, I believe,
Okay.
and they were so looking forward to like I hope we get Inamorata, and I was like I'm sure you'll get it. And yeah, I was watching the next night, watching as the set list was coming out, and I was like I really hope they get it. And I saw Whiskey, and I was like I felt for them. Those are the people I feel for, the
Oh
people
yeah.
that
Yeah.
have showed up late to this tour, being like I hope I get a piece of that.
Yeah. It might return. You never know. You never know. It is interesting that they pulled it. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back in before the American end finishes.
Yeah,
I,
maybe it's yeah. We've been over. We're essentially at the end of the middle of this tour.
yeah.
We're heading on our way out. So maybe they're bringing it back for the finale. Who knows?
Yeah. So what's left? Houston, Santa Clara,
Houston.
and Denver, right?
Yes. Yep. Five more.
Five more. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Then we get the day that never comes. I did hear there might have been a little wobble on that one. I think they were having a few problems with that
I
one.
know, and I've noticed with Shep's been posting. I think it was like four times in a row that they've screwed it up.
Hmm.
And usually that's, I guess the times that I'm usually waiting to see screw ups, the evil part of myself is the intro to one and the intro to nothing.
Okay.
Nothing else matters. Um, but I guess in day, I really haven't paid attention too much or noticed the slip ups. So I'm curious where they are, but
Yeah.
it's
I think
I
it's very minor. I think it's very minor. I think maybe
yeah.
James comes in a little bit early or Lars is maybe slightly behind, but I think it's minimal, I think. Really, really is
Yeah.
minimal. Then you get cyanide.
Yes, and that was good. That was fresh for me. I think the last time I heard it was in Mexico City. And that was even funny too. I recall in Mexico because I got it right at Drum Kit 1, and then the next day I think Metallica posted something about it, and I was chatting with somebody, and I was like, I didn't even realize they played Cyanide. And I think I've mentioned before on a previous podcast where there's always, it seems when I'm there for those four songs, there's always one where I just sort of black out. And that would have been it in Mexico. So as soon as they started playing it, I was like, I'll be here full throttle for it this time.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from because I kind of had a similar, and it's so strange in Slane Castle, I think, which was 2019. Um, I remember like they were playing Ride the Lightning, and I was like, "What is this song?" Like a brain fart.
Yeah, you had a brain fart. You're like, wait a
I'm
minute,
like,
I should know this.
"What is this song?" I'm like, and Luke is like, "Right, you jackass," you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I just couldn't think, you know. I think it's when the adrenaline's pumping and you just, you're so excited and stuff, just your brain goes to sleep a little bit.
That's
But
exactly it. And in Mexico too, after that, I looked and I had like a 10-second video of, just rocking out with Lars. And I was like, wow, they did play it. I have it here. But the cool thing about Cyanide and what it means to me, back in 2008, when Death Magnetic was coming out, I was fortunate when they announced Ozfest and they're like, we're only playing one location and it's going to be in Frisco, Texas. And at the time I was living in Austin, I was like, thank you. I was thinking it might be in Chicago, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it out there.
Right,
So I got very fortunate with that. And one of the gems we got that night was, the world premiere of anything from Death Magnetic, because they played Cyanide that night.
right. Cool. Yeah, it's a fantastic track. It really is. Um, and then we kind of, we got Orion then,
Hmm.
which is always fun. I love when they all come together on that one.
Yeah.
It's so
Yes.
cool. So cool. I just can't wait for next year, man. I'm chatting to all you guys. I'm like, I just want to go to a show.
Yeah.
And then we get Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, which is always fun.
Hmm.
Then he got Blackened.
Yeah, and that was that. Yeah, that I wasn't even thinking about. I wasn't trying to predict what was going to go in the slot. When I was in Nashville, I turned to my friends and I was like, I really hope we get Blackened, and we didn't at the time. So as soon as I heard the intro tape, I was giving everybody hugs.
Such a good song. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love it. I just love it. I hope they keep that in there.
Yeah.
And then Fuel, Seek, and Puppets, which is pretty standard, but still an awesome way to finish a show. You
And then
know,
the interesting thing was after their set over there at the third drum kit, we had a nice delay because drum kit number 4 wasn't coming out.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in talking to the crew members before the show, one of them had told me, he was like, "Hey, we've had Tampa circled for a while. We realized it was going to be really hot. It's going to screw with the stage because the stage is just sitting out there out in the open, just baking."
Yeah.
And he was like, "We're at the point right now where we've just ordered a ton of dry ice, for the setup under the stage." So I don't know if the heat played into the difficulties that they had over the weekend with drum kit 4. But that, yeah, it seems like both nights they had a hiccup with it. But yeah, the first night to the point where they had to play 2 songs, I think, over at drum kit 3 before they were able to move over for Seek,
And
and Master.
is it working on air? Does it sound like it's like on air, or is it like hydraulics? I wonder. It's
Yeah, I
probably.
don't know. I don't know. Even though I get close and look in there, I don't know the makeup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always wondered. But even so, it was that, and I also heard that they were like, yeah, there were issues with the spider cam beforehand. They were like the some of the equipment was taken down, and there was a huge fan on the spider cam equipment. But
Wow.
yeah, they felt like,
Yeah, as you said,
maybe it was Charlotte was their dry run.
sitting out there in the heat all day, like, what I mean, it's going to screw you up, you know?
Yeah, and I wondered how that changed from Madrid, because if I feel like in Madrid that was the case too.
Yeah, it was hot in Madrid, all right.
Yeah,
Maybe it wasn't as humid though. There definitely was a breeze in Madrid. I can still picture that big
yeah,
Atletico Madrid flag just flapping in the wind. So there was a breeze.
yep.
Maybe it wasn't as hot, but I know Florida. I've been to Florida, and I know that kind of
Mhm.
hot, humid heat. It's literally like being in an oven.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess maybe there was a little bit more of a breeze, but you never know. It would have been funny if Lars had to play down in the hole.
Just yeah, he's just jumps right in. The high Lars, and you just see the hand stick out.
Yeah, but he's killing it too, man. He's been so tight.
Yeah,
He's so
yeah,
good. Like, for all the shit that he gets, like, he's really playing out of his skin on this tour. They all
yeah.
are, they really are. So, yeah, so a fun trip. So you're getting ready then. You're heading to Santa Clara coming up. Was
Yes.
it next week? 2 weeks?
That'll be next week. Yeah, I'll leave next Thursday to get out there. Fly west.
Wow, wow. Yeah. And then, so you've 4 more shows?
Yep, 4 more. Yeah, I'll be unfortunately miss Houston, which stinks because yeah, that's in Texas and I'd like to go.
That's going to be
But
another
yeah,
hot one though, right?
that will be. Well, they'll be, yeah, because they'll be at Energy Stadium, I'm sure. So they'll be indoors. But the waiting, that's good. Waiting is the hardest part. But that was a problem with Arlington a couple of years ago. Was, I think, where everybody was waiting. I didn't wait either day in line, but they said I just heard horror stories from people waiting outside in the heat and humidity, in Arlington. It was 108 every day.
Oh,
When we got to Phoenix, I think it was 111, and this was the makeup show. I was at the postponed show. I
mm.
wasn't at the first one, but it was 111 when we were walking over. It wasn't humid, and having grown up in the humidity and the heat in Texas, I can take the Phoenix heat more in stride than I can like going back to humidity. It kills me. But I remember the walk over there. We bought a bunch of, we grabbed like a 24 pack of bottles of water because we thought we'd be waiting out in the sun. We got there where everybody was waiting, and they're like, "Your guy disappear. We've got a place for you guys." In Phoenix, they were nice enough to take the early entry people and put them somewhere in the shade. They
Okay.
left GA to just fend for themselves, but we donated the water and we cooled down over there.
Oh, that was good.
Um, but so yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious what the setup will be in Houston.
Yeah, as you said, standing up and waiting in line in the heat, that's the one that's going to break you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when you can get into trouble.
Yeah, because if I was in Tampa and I walked in at the time I did, someone said, "Hey, here's your rail spot," I would have been like, "Wow, it was no big deal today." But like running into Shep, who had been out there all day and just, fatigued by the heat, that's
Mm.
that's that's what gets to you.
She still got her spot though. I seen she was down by Chad. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I've been kind of picking everybody's brain about going in, as the eye disappear. Let's say it's not 108 degrees and you're in line as normal. Like when you walk in, and obviously every stadium arena is different. Like, I guess it just takes time to know, okay, when you walk in, say this side of the field this time, and you're like, where am I? Okay, there's the bridge, there's tower. Like, where do you know where to go?
Yeah, yeah. I don't you gotta it's essentially spotting it's spotting the stations.
It's the
And
tower.
also,
The towers are numbered, right?
yeah, they are actually. And I know that, and the only reason I know that is because I think there's a Tower 5 crew. I think there's a crew that always gets the same tower.
Right,
Um and But for me, yeah, it's essentially looking for the setups where drum kits are located for the opening bands.
right.
And I haven't paid too much attention to that this year. Obviously, I remember that when I saw Limp Bizkit the first time, it got crushed at the rail. I remember where that was in Toronto. But in years past, I've been more, astute to that, just looking at, oh, there's that drum kit, so I know exactly where
Yeah,
everybody's station
yeah.
is.
I guess it just
Yeah,
takes time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been a blast catching up with you. It sounds like it was a hell of a weekend, a different one for you. You got to kind of chill and sit back a little bit, which is
Hmm.
well deserved. A couple of cool beers with some friends from Europe, and yeah, we all need to do that now and again, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like I like every experience that I get out of it. And yeah, we go in there and we make the most of whatever decision we make that day.
100%. Well, Chris, it's been an absolute blast chatting to you, and hopefully we'll have a chat before this tour ends, and kind of maybe do a recap or something. Or maybe might try
Yeah.
and get a few guys on and have a chat, maybe a little group chat, and have
That'd
fun.
be cool. Yeah, I can reconnect with them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it for this week's episode of That Sound Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and always remember, keep rocking.